on the Pettit School District. Nobody's signed up to speak at the public forum, so we'll move item number 9, seven. We'll address that first. Of course, that's the resolution for the reinvestment zone. I know the board members, he asked us, Mr. Webster asked us to wait until now to ask our questions. So if we have questions, now will be the time to ask. I'll ask the first one. How long is this agreement, or is there an expiration date on it?
An expiration on the reinvestment zone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the reinvestment zone, when you create one, it's good for 5 years. According to the statute in Chapter 312, it can be renewed/extended for periods not to exceed 5 years. So the longest it can last is 10 years. However, that's irrelevant when it comes to the agreement, because from an agreement standpoint, the reinvestment zone just needs to be in existence when the agreement is entered into. The expiration of the reinvestment zone does not invalidate it.
My biggest thing is, why did the school district have to create this instead of like with the county and all that? That's the part that was confusing to me. I know we affect tax rates and stuff. Is that the only reason we are the ones that had to create one?
Well, it's typically, historically what I've seen is that the county oftentimes creates the reinvestment zone because typically they're entering into an abatement agreement in advance of, like the district here, considering a tax limitation agreement. In this particular instance, the timing is sort of reversed, and for us to move forward with the timeline that we've done and we have to stay in, it ended up with the school district needing to actually create the reinvestment zone.
That leads into my other question. What again happens if it doesn't get approved tonight?
Well, you cannot consider the tax limitation agreement until such time as you have a reinvestment zone.
Okay.
As that is a prerequisite to considering a tax limitation.
Yes, I've got a few questions. One, just to kind of clarify for everyone, because I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page. Who is the tax limitation for? Is it for the property owners or Blue Jays equipment on them?
It does not impact the landowners. That is for the solar project, Blue Jay Solar.
Okay. And then
A tax limitation is only applicable to someone that is party to an agreement with the school district. In this instance, it would be Blue Jay Solar. Assuming you approve it, you consider it approved at a meeting.
the next question is, earlier you were discussing bonds. Does Blue Jay Solar, are they bonded on this job? And if they are, is that per individual landowner or is that for the project as a whole?
The details of the bonds haven't been worked out. Many of our agreements with the landowners require us to bond the equipment. And so it's not yet clear whether that would be a single bond that covers various properties or whether it would be separate bonds. It depends on the project layout and what equipment is on the property.
Okay, so if somebody new wanted to enter into an agreement with you that's within this zone, they could require you to be bonded on that.
Yeah, it's a contractual negotiation. Yeah,
It's just to protect their property.
exactly.
Okay. The next question I have, this might be my last one, I'm not sure. But as a whole, I'm sorry, no, that was part of it. Was it bonded as a whole or per property? So you've answered that.
I have a question. Are we on a timetable here? I thought I heard something about the timing and why we had to create it. We're on a timetable here?
Correct. Yes, we're on the time. Based upon I think Don may have kind of had a briefing of this at the time the application is accepted for consideration, but there's a specific timeline that's provided in Chapter 313. And so we are on that timeline in that the comptroller has issued certification We're submitting the agreement for approval from the comptroller, so we are on a timeline. I don't have the specific dates in front of me. We're within the timeline, there's no problem there. But in fact, we are on the timeline that's required by statute.
I did have one more question, and this may be for the meeting with the investment person that's coming, but it may be something y'all can answer now. You mentioned it was going to create $5 million in revenue for the county and about $10 million for the school. How does that lay out? You said $1 million in one payment and then $52,000 per year after that?
Yeah, I think the report that your school finance consultant has done will be the best source of that information. And we've done our own analyses, and I think Stephen can share that. But the report that the consultant that you hired has all the information.
He gave us a report in May when we went through the initial. It has been edited. I thought I shared the edited version. If I didn't, I can share it with you. And the only reason it was edited last month, September, because of our tax rate. We adopted a new tax rate. So when he did his first report, it was on our it was using our 1920 tax rate. We adopted the new tax rate, so we edited that report. And I apologize if you don't have it.
I've got a quick breakdown of it right here. So the $1 million payment to revenue protection, the $52,000 a year for 15 years, that's $789,000. The estimated M&O taxes over the 25 years is $6.3 million, and the estimated INS taxes is $2.1 million, for a total of about $10.2.
That's what I was looking for. I did the math earlier.
It's missing something.
And those guys have joined us now, so thank y'all.
I just think sometimes people look at this, looking at about the law.
I got one question for those guys there about if, to clarify that the solar panels, are they going to cover the entire area or will they be in certain areas? I understood y'all said something about some floodplains and whatnot, so, I mean, primarily they wouldn't be on every single acre of the land.
No.
You could be a neighbor and not even see them. Is that correct? Would that be correct?
Correct, yeah. I mean, we have about 2,800 acres under lease, and a project of this size will have around 1,500 acres of panels. So that means about half of that area will be empty. And the way it works out is, because you can only put panels on areas that are flat and dry, well, then there will be, creek beds or floodplains that don't have any panels. We can't put panels over pipeline easements. So there will be spaces scattered throughout that don't have solar panels on them at all. So.
I think it's y'all pretty much environmental friendly as far as not disturbing floodplains and things of that nature.
That's right, yeah, we wouldn't be able to get the project financed if it's in floodplain.
Are there other questions relating to the reinvestment zone?
If there's no further questions, we entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
I'm moving to table it. Because it's like the people didn't know the community about it, or this little time apologizing about the time zone, already under crunch. It's time to notify people, and I mean, I don't think anybody knew this. Your community. Don't we have 2 more meetings after this?
We have one. Another public hearing. So we have a motion to table it. Motion will die for lack of a second. Is there a motion to approve?
I move we approve the investment.
Motion to approve the resolution for the investment zone. Second by Red. Those in favor, raise your hand. Those opposed, those abstained. 601 from Carolyn abstained. Okay. Y'all welcome to stay or They're gonna get us a map tomorrow, we'll share that on the school board, school website. So,
Can we
you
get
know,
a
any
map
interest
with
in
the
that?
zone and then the actual flag, like interlaid?
Yeah.
And where we can pass it out in detail where everybody can see what it's exactly included in it?
Yeah, no, and let me just say, I apologize if it feels like they didn't have the information they needed. We don't usually have much interest in the reinvestment zone because it doesn't have any impact on the property. But I'd be happy to get you a more detailed map that shows the project area with the reinvestment zone.
That'd be great, thank you.
Mr. Martindale,
Yes. Yes, sir.
I did not hear the results of the vote.
It was 601
Okay.
in favor of approving.
Okay.
You guys, I don't know if you want to continue through the rest of our meeting. If not, we'll shut down the Zoom, and I appreciate you gentlemen joining us after your other meeting. Feel free to call, email me, whatever we need to do from this point forward.
Thank you for allowing us to participate via Zoom, and obviously if you have any questions, please reach out.
Thank you, Mr. Westwood. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Mr. Dare, Mr. Van Dyke, thank y'all.
Thank you.
We'll move to item number 4, consideration of consent agenda. Mr. Martindale, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
The last meeting about the plan, it says that a motion was made to approve the plan. It doesn't say anything about that we provide. That's the same, it says we approved it. Right?
We approved it with a few minor amendments.
And it just should say that we approved the plan with whatever.
Adjustments or amendments
It
discussed.
doesn't say that.
The asynchronous plan, that's what you're referring to?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll,
that's adjustments.
we'll get that wording correctly.
Anything else? I can't hear you. Probably not, sorry. I know it doesn't item number 5, campus administrative reports.
We need to,
Oh, sorry. Consider the agenda.
Motion approved with the correction of item number 7.
Motion by Tammy, second by Carolyn. Those in favor, again. Motion carried. Did I miss Carolyn? You right here? I missed it.
I did,
Okay,
sorry.
7-0. Motion carries 7-0. Item number 5, campus administrative.
Mrs. Juski, Mr. Dollar, are you going first today? All right.
Good evening, everybody. For those that I haven't met, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Brian Fowler. I'm the high school principal. So we got a lot of great things going on over at the high school. I just kind of want to bring to your attention. First thing, we have our open house. It will be at the high school in person on October 26th, so that's next Monday. We have a new student council representative, and she has given the opportunity for our teachers' kids to have babysitters. So anybody that's going to be at the open house that needs babysitting, our student council members will be doing a babysitting thing for those teachers that need that for our open house. Band, our band is working on their UIL region marching contest. That contest is going to be November 7th at Troy High School. So they've been working on that through our halftime shows, and we're working hard on that after school things. Our athletics program is doing really well. Our volleyball team is doing excellent again this year. They're tied for first in district. Right now they are 21-1. They're tied with Leon, and that's just going to be our rivals for the rest of our lives, I'm sure. JV, they are 17-2. So they are also doing extremely well this year, and then the junior high team is undefeated. So our volleyball programs are doing very well right now. They have a game tomorrow. I believe this is our last district game tomorrow. It is at Centerville, and it will start at 5 and 6 p.m. respectively. JV will be first. Football, varsity is 3-3. They're 3-2 in district, so we have one more game left. It's Milano. It'll be in Milano on Friday, so that kind of determines if we go to the playoffs or not. So it's a big game for us, so we're really rooting on those boys to do well. Our junior high program is kind of like our volleyball girls program. They're really good. We've got a lot of great athletes, and there's a lot of great potential in those boys. They're 6-1 right now, so our junior high programs are doing really well. A couple other announcements. Homecoming was this last weekend. We had a great turnout for homecoming. We did announce our homecoming queen, which was Presley Clayton, and our homecoming king was Chad Gidry. So we congratulate those individuals on those accomplishments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard. Mrs. Houston, the floor is yours.
All right. Do I?
I didn't know where you were. I was looking for-
My campus updates normally go like this: celebration, upcoming events. But we're going to go a different route today. There are lots of good things for us to celebrate at the elementary campus. I just felt that today it was really important to address some things, specifically some rumors that are kind of just reoccurring. And it would be irresponsible of me, seeing kind of how everything went down on social media this weekend, to not address that. Because if you haven't seen it yet, chances are you'll hear or see about it later. So I'm just going to go ahead and be forthcoming about everything that's going on, lay out some facts, show you, tell you the rumor, what's going on, and what's really happening. So you'll just bear with me for a minute while I kind of go through this. One of the things that I want to address has been a rumor for about 5 years. And I wouldn't even give any credence to rumors except that today at school and over the weekend, we had teachers in tears. We had teachers nervous, upset, angry, and it was heartbreaking. We have teachers at our campus that are heartbroken and have been, because it makes the work that we're trying to do almost impossible. Because the things that we're up against, as in the nature of our job already, to have to combat the same rumor over and over again is exhausting. And so that's kind of what I want to lay out today. And it has to do with the rumor that Iola teachers at the elementary level do not teach phonics instruction. That is incorrect. I would not be at this campus if they did not teach phonics, if phonics was ditched. And a little known fact that I really haven't told many people, but I'm going to tell you now to help you understand this. One of the reasons that I left the district that I was at was because there were things going on at the district level, decisions being made that I did not, my views did not align. Specifically with doing away with phonics and going all whole language, Lucy Hawkins, 100%. I wasn't gonna go out and ditch my district for it, absolutely not. But after a couple of years of really not being able to get on board, I said, you know what? I'm gonna leave here and I'm gonna go find somewhere that aligns. And that is why, one of the reasons I came to Iola when I did. Because I agree with that view. I hire teachers that agree with that view. Because it is important. So I think that whenever we begin to address that rumor, based on data and facts, you'll see. And one of the things that kind of started this, a teacher was hired, and that's when the rumor started. She doesn't teach phonics. She threw out all of our phonics that we were doing. She doesn't teach it. That is not correct. How it went down was like this. In the teacher's interview, she asked specifically, what phonics program do you teach? Do I need to get trained on it? Or can I use what I've been using in my other district? She was told by the curriculum coordinator and the principal at the time, use whatever works for you. All right, my superiors told me to do that, so that's what I did. However, after seeing some of the pushback she was getting from her colleagues, okay, wanted to teach me. The issue came up that she had a group of kids in her classroom with 2 kids on level. 2 on level. It's not the fault of anybody, it's just the way it is. And so she looked at this program that she didn't know anything about. All of her teachers wanted her to teach it, so she's looking at it going, you know what? How can I make this specific program work with kids that are only 2 of them are on a level that these lessons are teaching to? Because if I spend 45 minutes teaching this lesson that's meant for middle of the road kids, I'm going to miss the other 18 kids in my room because they're either above or below. So I'm going to spend 45 minutes reaching 2 kids. So she went to her colleagues who were experts in this curriculum, which is a great curriculum, by the way. Went to these teachers and said, this is my issue. How can I make this work with these kind of kids that I have? I'm going to need to differentiate it because not every kid's ready to go to this next lesson or listen to what I'm going to say. How can I reach them all while still covering my teeth and embracing this program? She was told by her colleagues, you can't. You either teach it 45 minutes in the middle of the road or you don't teach it at all. So, for the sake of her kids, she said, I'm going to use what I've been using that has worked with kids that I've had in this situation. And that's how it happened. The phonics program I'm talking about is Saxon Phonics, which, like I said, is a great research-based program that is helping many students read. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so what happened with that program, it wasn't thrown in dumpsters. We still have it. We still use pieces of it for kids that are struggling to read because there are good pieces in there. But we needed something. We needed a type of goal, a direction we were headed in that allowed us to meet all kids while still teaching those phonics rules, still teaching the phonics principles, making our kids successful. So that program, that Saxon Phonics program, the curriculum coordinator at the time had said, I'm not ordering it anywhere for y'all can't do it. Okay, what are we going to do? And then that was the end of it. And when I came on as Dean of Students, I said, all right, let's talk about phonics. What are we using? What's the deal with Saxon? What happened there? And out of the teachers that taught phonics at the time, which was only K-2, there were 5 teachers. And 4 of them did not want to continue Saxon. They wanted to try something else that would allow more flexibility to reach all of their students. So you didn't have a situation where you're only meeting a couple kids. And that's where that happened. So there is also something else that's been said that kind of goes off this, starting about 3 years ago. We had a huge drop in our reading, 3rd grade reading star scores. Alarming. Didn't expect it. Did not expect it. Knew they were struggling. I know myself, I was in there teaching with that teacher, trying to get these kids where they need to be. And so you saw star scores that Iola was used to, that draws people at 100% passing on 3rd grade star, 85% passing on 3rd grade star, bam, 48%. No one's okay with that. Nobody. And then it happened, well, that new teacher that was hired threw out all of that phonics, and that's why they're so low. But I want to show you some data today that's going to show that rumor is not true. And I know it sounds small, but it has done a ton of damage to the teachers in our school. So what I have is I'm going to sit down, I'm going to turn around. Oh, okay. That's really I'm sorry, it's tiny. I'm going to try to zoom in as I go through here. But some of the things that I wanted to show you guys was what I have over here, spring of 2015. All right? Here's where the 3rd graders were that year, spring 2015, 100% passed. In the years before, when they were in 2nd, when that group was in 1st and kindergarten, they got Saxon. It worked. It served them. The passing standard, the pass star was 47%. We were in a phase 1 process with as far as the rigor, because We all knew that STAR was going to be harder. How much harder? TEA said it was going to get harder every single year. Great. All right. So let's go down here to spring of 2016. Oops. Spring of 2016. 85%. Well, no, our scores are dropping. Well, the passing standard increased to 50%. I got to make it 50 to pass it. Also, the rigor increase. Now we're in phase 2, which raises the passing standard. And here we go. Now we're going to make it even harder for the kids to pass. Not the teacher's fault. Nature of the test. They also got Saxon. Spring 2017. We're still in phase 2, but the rigor increased. Also, the passing standard increased to 53%. This is where you saw the 2017 scores drop dramatically. That made us all panic and find out what in the world is going on. Oh, it's those new teachers that don't teach phonics. They don't teach Saxon. That's what's wrong. All of those kids in previous years, they all had Saxon phonics. Saxon phonics is a great program. We can't look to blame that because those kids did great. Those teachers teaching Saxon phonics were making and creating readers. Go down some more. Spring of 2018, third grade STAR reading, 73%. Okay, we're getting back up there. Not where we want to be, but we're getting there. Standard passing rate is 53%. Got to make it 53 to pass. We're still in phase 2, but like I said, every year the passing standard may be the same, but the test is getting harder. They're throwing in questions that are above grade level and counting. Here we go. Saxon, these kids got Saxon in 2017. And also, this was the year that the curriculum coordinator, the year before, took away Saxon, said you can't use it. This teacher was left using what was left over that she knew from Saxon, plus what the adopted English language arts curriculum was. So she kind of made it her own little hybrid. First grade teacher came and said she could use whatever she wants. So anyone that tried Saxon didn't work for that group of kids she had. She had to go with what she had been proven to her through her years of teaching what worked. Words Their Way was the curriculum through Pearson. It was differentiated instruction, phonics, and whole group and small group. Kindergarten, they got Saxon. Okay, so what are we seeing? Well, we really don't know. You know, the test is getting harder. Kids are doing okay. And then here, spring of 2019, third grade reading stars dropped a couple percentage points to 71%, but look what happened. Now we're in phase 3, right? We're at like level 100 on that. Again, the phonics wasn't required in third grade during spring of 2019. But now you kind of see the same kind of program. Words Their Way by Pearson, differentiated instruction, phonics, small group and whole group, all the way down. Still have some Saxon here. That's okay. It's okay. We want to see even better, right? This is important because we didn't have a STAR test spring of 2020. Our kids were at home, driving us all crazy. We didn't have that. The TEA came out at the beginning of the year assessment because they wanted to see maybe how the kids would have done on STAR, see where their gaps were, maybe what they didn't learn when they were out, what wasn't covered because we weren't in school.
Miss, did you
So
say, I can't hear what you're saying.
I'll have that. So here right here, I was just explaining, our fourth grade students this year, didn't need to take the third grade, our fourth grade students took the one that TEA made and said, hey, we have a test that's going to help see how these kids would have done on STAR. We're going to give you the same hard question, that phase 3 holy cow rigor. That's what they got. TEA created it, same length as STAR, same type of questions, same type of passages, everything. Our fourth graders, after being out for as long as they did, 94% passed. That's amazing. That tells me that their third grade teacher grade teacher was spiraling reading instruction throughout the year. Taking in all those teachings and all those concepts and building it in. It tells me that those kids did that using these methods. Where's their Ray McPherson? I'm not saying that's the one that we need to do or going to do. The differentiation, the small group, whole group phonics. We're allowing our teachers to make the best decisions for those groups of kids because they're professionals. They're professionals. They see those kids in their class every day. They take the data. They know where they are. And that's the result of it. Like I said, tonight is not about knocking facts and phonics. We still have teachers that use pieces of the parts that they need for their kids. Ms. Kessel still uses parts of it for her intervention kids. The same concepts are in our special education resource reading program. They're good. They work. It just didn't work for our entire class. That's it. That's it. And I don't want this to be about, ma'am?
I do have a question.
Yes, okay. And this is not supposed to be about knocking teachers who use Saxon at all. Because Ms. Mallett, Ms. McCallan, Ms. Trent, Ms. Brock, I don't know if she's still here, they built readers. That's what they did. They used that and it worked for them. And that's not to be discounted. I don't want you to think that I'm here to disrespect that at all. That's not the case. I'm sorry if you even felt disrespected for that. It's not the intention. I want to be clear. But there are some things here that I want to pull up that when it comes to phonics instruction, we have some new research that we have to consider that isn't just research we Googled or that got shared on Facebook. It's research that TEA has said, this is what you have to do. These are the sound practices that you must follow. TEA's our boss, we're going to do it. They've done the research, they've got the experts, we're going to go with that. So when it comes specifically, let me pull it up. So, yeah, this is my last PowerPoint here. We're going to look at what exactly does TEA say about phonics instruction. Not just what my friends say about it, not just what Facebook say about it. What does TEA, our boss, say about phonics instruction? This is what they say. And this is through House Bill 3, the Science of Reading, the Reading Academies. They say, your phonics lessons must be taught with the lessons that last 10 to 20 minutes. Shoot. Back in grade 5, we saw that issue when we were trying to differentiate. Again, not that Saxon was bad, but what TA says you have to do is we also have to differentiate on instruction. That is in the teacher expectations, is what we have to do. So we have to find things that allow us to do that. It also, the phonics group in T says we have to use them. That kind of instruction has to introduce concepts in a purposeful sequence. Not just whatever you feel like teaching them, but a purposeful sequence, which is what is being done in every single class that teaches phonics regarding fifth edition. Also, each concept introduced is based on what was previously learned. You're going to have kids that get to you that still don't get the sneaky E. So as that next grade level teacher, you have to go back and make sure that kid has that skill before they can move on to the next thing. Kindergarten teachers have to make sure their kids know all the sounds before they can start doing digraphs and blends and CBC words. They have to make sure those sounds are there. They are. And it also says progress monitoring. That's how we know where to go next. Our teachers take great data, a ton of it. Teachers are professionals, they know. They know their kids, they know where they need to go. And all of the things that we teach in phonics, it's not just something we got off teachers pay teachers. It's in the T's. It says exactly what we have to teach, and we follow the research on how to teach it. Again, what does it say about, what does TA say about instruction? Instruction must be differentiated to reach all students. So we've got to find something that's going to allow us to do that. We have to give teachers the flexibility to look at that phonics curriculum and say, this is great for this, but oh man, this isn't gonna work because TEA says kindergarten can't do letter of the week, which is what our curriculum says to do. That teacher, the kindergarten teacher opened that page and said, all right, here's my phonics curriculum, we agreed on as a district. It says teach letter of the week. TEA says that's out, you can't teach letter of the week. So what does that teacher do? Let me go back to teaching this skill in a different way. Because I can't use what we adopted because it's not going to work. TA says we can't do it. To sum it up, our teachers do teach phonics according to the T's. They're awesome at it. Our scores are going up 94% when the kids were out for months. That tells us that something is going right. Do they all use the adopted ELAR curriculum to teach it? They all start there. Absolutely. We all start with that because that's what we agreed on. We're going to start there. But if we see something in there that doesn't align with what TA wants us to do, or doesn't align, it doesn't fit in our class, we're going to change it. We're going to have that flexibility to tweak it, to make it fit the needs of our kids, not the needs of what that book says we have to do. We go by what the T's and TA say we have to do. Next day, the teacher turns the page, she sees something great, she's going to use it, bam. But you have to be able to afford our teachers the flexibility to teach that without slamming them for either not teaching phonics or not using a certain one. It's got to be done. So what's next? Right now, TEA says that what schools are currently using, what we currently adopted, is fine for teaching phonics. Teach it. Tell us what it is you're going to use. Do what you need to do. Differentiate for kids. However, in TEA's wonderful way of doing things, they say, but we'll offer more guidance later. Oh, great. So I'm up here tonight trying to instill trust in our school district again. It's kind of been shattered with rumors. We're still waiting on TEA to give us a list of approved phonics curriculums to teach from. And so, yeah, our teachers do all start with that phonics instruction that was adopted through our curriculum, but they tweak it and change it because they're good. Our teachers are good, guys. They don't feel good right now. And yeah, we know, just like I think Mr. McDuffie said, there is a division in the community, and it leaks its way itself into the school. And it has hurt our teachers, and they are good teachers, all of them. They don't feel good. And so a lot of times we come to you guys and you ask us, what is it that you need? Let us know if the school district needs something. Let us know what we can do. This isn't about donating backpacks and everything, because we love that stuff. But right now, what we need is for honesty and questions. And if you hear a rumor, did you know this teacher's not doing this? Did you know she did this? It's got to end with you. It can either end with you, it can get worse. Well, come and ask. Go ask that teacher. We're teachers. We love questions. It's like a thing with us. We love it. Come and ask. And we will give you an honest answer. If you don't like that answer, that is okay. Because at the end of the day, after you and I talk, or after you and that teacher talk, and y'all don't agree with each other's viewpoints, that's fine. But at least you can say, at least you can lead each other with integrity, knowing we tried, and we respect each other even though we don't agree. Friendship shouldn't be destroyed over it. Lines in the school and the community should not be drawn. You should be able to step across them and ask questions. Love that. Yeah, as teachers, we fail, we do. I fail all the time. It's okay. So we teach our kids. Failure is just another way to grow. And when you're wrong, step up, try better. That's what we're going to do. And if you don't, call me out on it. I'm fine with it. Please call if you have a question, if you hear something alarming that someone has told you about something going on in our classrooms. I've got many teachers who will welcome you to come either into their classroom and watch them teach, or they will record it and you can watch, you can follow along. I've got teachers that are willing to do that because that is how much they want you to trust what they do in the classroom with those kids. We have a great community, we just need to bring it together. That's all. Yes, ma'am.
Kentucky County said that we had to adopt a phonics program. I mean, that's part of it.
Right.
And we did adopt one, but when I kind of looked into it, it wasn't really a phonics curriculum. All it is we just adopted two reading programs.
Sure.
That's all we did.
Right.
So we need a phonics curriculum, okay? And that's what makes it consistent when everybody uses it. When you let one person use one thing and another grade use another thing, you're forming gaps. You don't have consistency.
And
That's
the
why the
method.
state is saying that.
Right.
We need to- And you had to certify the state tax, what we were using. So what did you say?
That we were using McGraw-Hill as our, the one that the teachers had voted on, we had to fill that survey out, and that's the one that they're starting with. It is, and I actually looked that question up on, hey, you know, do I need a specific phonics curriculum like foundations or SACs or words their way? Do I need to adopt a specific phonics only curriculum? The answer from TEA was no. Use what you're using now. If it comes in the curriculum, use it. But we'll give you guidance on a list of phonics curriculums that we approve. We're still waiting on that. If you check their website, it says coming soon, phonics curriculum. So we're gonna jump on that as soon as we see it. Absolutely.
And so you're saying that the phonics program, we don't have it because they're two reading programs. What we adopted is phonics. We were led to believe in our board meeting when we voted that was the phonics program.
It
All it is another reading series. I looked at it. That's all it is. We're all here reading series. That's not a phonics curriculum. It's not a phonics curriculum.
So I'm just gonna correct you because it is a comprehensive literacy component, which is what TA says we do have to have. Well, let me finish. And then in that are phonics lessons, phonics strategies, phonics cards that you can use. It's got all of that. So within that comprehensive literacy system, there is a phonics program in there that
Yes,
comes
we're
with
going to
it.
jump all over the place. We're going to pull a lesson here. When you have a curriculum, you have a phonics curriculum, which you're telling us, I'm guessing, I'm going to have to be sure,
Who knows?
that you're supposed to adopt it. Okay, so right now, what's everybody using? I don't know.
Right. Everyone's
Everybody's
starting.
doing their own little thing, right?
No.
So there's no consistency.
No.
Okay, what are they doing starting from K to 65th grade? What are they doing?
We're all like I said earlier, we're all starting there. And if the lesson works for that group of kids, we're gonna use that. But there are things that get tweaked. The consistency falls in the teeth. Are these things being covered? They are. But in those phonics curriculums, it even says TA says we have to differentiate it. So while you may have a system that says a separate phonics system like you're thinking, and it says this, but you have to do TA says you still got to differentiate that, by the way, meaning you still have to change it to fit your needs. So it's not going to be cookie cutter lessons because kids aren't cookie cutter. But so TA is even saying differentiate your phonics lessons. That's expected. So we know regardless of what system we have, we're going to have to tweak it. And the tweaking's not going to look the same. Your kids aren't the same.
So tell me, what does second grade do? What does third grade do? So tell me what the other grades use. You kind of mentioned maybe what the lower grades use, what the upper grades use. What do they use for phonics?
Right now, because I've only shown what was up until spring of 2020. Right now, which third grade, that was the first year that we had adopted what our new curriculum for that. Right now, again, everybody is starting there. That's where they start. They look and they say, okay, how do I need to teach this? That's either going to work perfectly as is, line by line by line, or I've got to change some things. Or, like we discovered with the curriculum for kindergarten, it says letter of the week. TA says we can't teach it, so that entire lesson got scrapped. Didn't even get it taught. It was taught a whole different way. We can't teach that.
So we basically do not have a phonics curriculum that we thought we were going.
No, we do.
That's a reading program.
We
That
do.
is a reading program. It is not a phonics curriculum.
All right, I appreciate both of y'all. Let's move on. I mean, we don't. Sure.
Who chose the curriculum? Recommended curriculum that we voted on?
Right. That was done by all of our kinder through sixth grade reading teachers that year. They reviewed it, went through the months of sampling it and everything, they voted on it. I didn't vote, they got a vote first when they chose. And it was, I can't remember the exact number, but overwhelmingly was H&H and Von Sentinel for the bonds.
Thank you for the information.
Thank you.
Move to item number 6. Oh, wait, sorry.
I just have two things. Again, thank you, Mrs. Juski. I think that was, I know that's excellent. 94% of those kids met standard on that test. But if you said it, I didn't hear it, and I wanted to share this too. That same test we're talking about, 100% of our kids that receive SPED services met standard on that test. That's something that we've been working on, getting our SPED kids up to level. Well, 100% of those SPED kids met that. That's a huge piece. And if you said it, I apologize, I missed it. If you didn't say it, I wanted everybody to hear it. I only have one thing, and it is a huge weight lifted off our shoulders. A huge congratulations to Ms. Juski and Ms. Harris, who, and others worked on it, but they're the two that were the backbone of it. But our asynchronous plan that we had to submit to TEA, which had to be TEA approved. If we get shut down, our funding will continue to flow. That program was approved with 0 edits required. Thank you very much. That's the only thing I wanted to talk about. The email we received from TEA stating that that was approved is in your packet. I know that when I mentioned us receiving 100 on our first report, a lot of people wanted to see it with their own eyes, so that's why I put that email in the packet this month. That's all I have.
Item number 6, consideration of Grimes County Appraisal District 2020 tax roll.
Yes, sir. The Board of Trustees are required to approve the appraisal roll with the tax amounts entered to constitute the tax roll for the taxing unit. This is done every year or annually. So I just ask the board to approve the resolution for the tax rolls for the tax year 2020 as presented.
I move that we adopt it.
Motion by Carolyn, second by Luke. Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries 7-0. Item, we've already done item number 7. Item number 8, consideration of date and canvass the 2020 school board election results.
Okay, I'll do my best to explain what's going on here. There's a certain timeline that has to be given from the end of the voting, election day, to when you can officially canvass votes. We can meet that requirement and still canvass our votes at our regular November board meeting, which will be Monday, November 16th. If there is a mail-in ballot, that would throw the timing off for us to do it at that 16th meeting. So then we would have to canvass, we would have a called meeting on Tuesday, November 17th to meet the timeline requirement. And that's when we canvass our votes. So if there's no mail-in ballot and Ms. Barr gives us the approval, we can canvass the votes the 16th. If there's mail-in that she's going to accept, then we'll need to do it on the 17th to meet the proper guideline timelines. So that's why it's written the way it is, and I just ask the board approve canvassing of 2020 school board election results on the available dates, and they're both listed there in case we have to do that call meeting.
Okay, motion by Luke, second by Danny, open for discussion. Those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries 7-0. Number 9, consideration of approving campus and district improvement plan.
Yes, sir. Our both campus advisory committees met last week. They worked on their campus plans, which led into us having a district advisory committee meeting last week to edit our district improvement plans. These have to be approved for Title I purposes. There, again, we didn't take any STAR tests, so there wasn't any real new data there. So not much has changed. The significant changes in the district plan, there were 2 goals that we met. I don't remember what those were. Sorry, I put you on the spot too, I forgot. But we met 2 of those goals, so they have come out of the plan, and that's really the major edit. piece of it. So essentially, overall, that plan looks the same as it did last year. Though we met one goal. I apologize, we met one, not two. So the goal that we met was removed, if you compare last year's plan to this year's plan. But it essentially is the same plan because it was not any new testing data. Just ask the board to approve those campus and district work. Yes, campus and the district plans as presented.
Motion by Andy, second by Scott, for discussion.
Yes. I apologize because I got it as an attachment, and when I tried to look at it, it was sideways and everything else, and my computer's messed up, so I couldn't get it printed and all that, so, I just want you to know that I really didn't read it. I couldn't read it. I don't know if you read it or not, but I couldn't hardly read it, so.
Well, I apologize for that, but and that just means it's good timing because it changed in the plan like from the one to approve last year.
I was able to flip on that.
Those in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, abstained. Raise your hand if you're abstaining. We have 6-0. Raise your hand if you're abstaining. Okay, 601. Any personnel issues?
No, sir.
Okay, motion, entertain a motion to adjourn. Okay, those in favor, raise your hand. Luke made the motion to second, right? That's all. Let's go.
Thank you.